ask herself or himself, why am I doing this? Why am I praying, or why am I doing the hijab? Is it for Allah or is it for other than Allah? If it is truly for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then one would not take off the hijab afterwards. If it is not from Allah, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the action was baseless anyway. Because we shouldn't be acting except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this person needs to ask herself why they are committing such actions, why they are putting the hijab on in the first place. If their basis for putting on the hijab is firm, it's for Allah, then they would never take it off. As we live in the Western society, the question says, we are constantly in interaction with the opposite gender. Please discuss what interactions are appropriate and what interactions are inappropriate, with some people developing friendships with the opposite gender and such social interactions. Anything which breaks the barriers of hijab is unlawful. Everything and anything which is within the barriers of hijab is lawful. The second, a Muslim brother is interacting with his classmate, which is a female, on the basis of necessity to take some notes, to take the homework, etc., etc., or in the workplace to ask about what work needs to be done. There's nothing wrong with this. The second, they overstep the bounds of necessity for whatever reason. Even if they don't speak, even if they have one glance at the face of this person out of lust, this is the barriers of hijab have been broken and this is a sin. End of story. It's really simple, really simple. As a guideline, we shouldn't be speaking to the opposite gender except when absolutely necessary. We have a hadith from the Aimma alayhim as-salam, for example from Sayyid al-Awsiya, Imam Ali alayhi salam, whereby he says, if people understood that their words are counted as part of their actions, are written as part of their actions and deeds, they wouldn't say anything except that which was absolutely necessary. So imagine how much further this applies for those of the opposite gender when we're interacting with them. As far as what is necessary, we have to. As far as what is not necessary, why should we? As far as what is not necessary, one should know they are skating on thin ice. Even if they are not doing it out of lustful intentions. If it is not necessary, they are putting them in themselves in that situation whereby they could slip at any second and fall into that which is haram. So as a guideline, we shouldn't be interacting beyond necessity. And as far as necessary, we have to, end of story. So when the hijab bounds are broken, this is haram. That food which has a negative and positive impact on the soul. All food can have either a positive, all halal food, all haram food will have a negative impact. All halal food can either have a positive or negative impact. But one has to see for themselves what situation they are in. For example, a person, a Muslim youth, at the age of 19 years old, a boy, is not married. And he feels these inclinations within himself for marriage, but he is not married. Foods like abundantly eating red meats, fish, dates, these foods are energetic foods and are aphrodisiacs, which enhance one's libido, which enhance one's sexual prowess. After one is married, he can eat as much as he wants of this within limits because it will affect him in this way, or her. So when one is not married, to eat these kind of foods will affect his shahwa. Especially meats, when we look at meat, especially from those animals which have a tendency towards sexual desires. Because when we eat meats from these animals, part of their inclinations we adopt within ourselves. As we eat the meat physically, as we eat the food physically, this has direct impact on our souls. For example, chicken. An aspect of the chicken is that it is a jealous animal. It has ghira, it is a ghayur. A person who has tendencies towards jealousy and needs to get this vice of jealousy out from within them, eating chicken abundantly would not be advisable. Because this is the characteristic of a chicken, which is why we find we are not allowed to eat pork. Pig has no benefit in it. It is full of vice, full of carnal, full of animalistic desires, full of disgusting habits. There is no good in this. When we eat from this, we will be adopting within ourselves all of these things. So, as a general idea, we should be eating less anyway. However, these kind of things, meats, fish, and these things will enhance the shahwa from within yourself. So one should keep less to even these, as much as necessary. Of course, we have a hadith to say that the one who abstains from meat for more than 40 days, it is extremely makruh. So within 40 days, we should have meat, at least within 40 days, at least once, at least. On the other hand, we also have riwayat that say, do not make your stomach the graveyard for animals. So we shouldn't be eating meat in that way as well. We need to draw the balance, and everybody needs to see himself or herself, how much they can take and how it is affecting them. The difference between the soul and the spirit, if we translate this into Arabic, perhaps what is meant is the nafs and the ruh. Differences between the nafs and the ruh. This nafs part of it, when we speak about nafs, ruh, qalb, fitra, all of these are one reality. But we use these different words in order to look at these things from different aspects. They are all one. But we look at it from this aspect we say qalb, this aspect we say fitra, this aspect we say nafs. The nafs, therefore, is that aspect within a person which contains vices and it contains virtues. It contains godly aspects to it, but needs to be purified in order to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This nafs undergoes stages within this journey, undergoes changes within this journey. At the beginning, at the very base level, without any self-reform, it is at the base level of an-nafs al-ammara. At this stage, as someone, if he wants to travel around the world, he needs to go through deserts, rainforests, cities, and so he wears different clothes and adopts different states when he travels through these different parts of the world. Similarly with the nafs, as it journeys towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is in different states. In the beginning, nafs al-ammara, this nafs which always prompting the self to go towards satisfying the desires, be it halal or haram, doesn't matter. Then a person travels, and with this self-purification, they come into this nafs al-lawwama. Nafs al-lawwama is that stage of a person where he is always blaming himself for what he used to do or for what he does. When he commits a sin, like an old woman, you know, always complaining, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you like this? Always hanging at a person, nagging a person. Nafs al-lawwama is like this. It is closer to Allah than nafs al-ammara. It is the second stage of the journey. When a person works through these nufus, he reaches nafs al-mulhama, the inspired nafs, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspires a person towards righteousness. After that, al-nafs al-mutma'inna, whereby a person is at peace and tranquility with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-nafs al-radiyah, the one who is pleased now with the will of Allah. Beyond that, al-nafs al-mardiyah, the one who Allah is pleased with now because of his endeavors on this journey. And finally, al-nafs al-kamila, which is the state of our ma'sumin alayhimus salam and our true arafa. They reach this nafs al-kamila, which is the perfection of the nafs now. So a nafs has to go through this huge and long journey from ammara to kamila. So this is the nafs. As far as the ruh is concerned, the ruh is that aspect of a person which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it in order to